This presentation is about the geologic timescale of Earth. So we've talked about Earth history and how it's been around for 4.6 billion years. So now we're going to talk about how that time is broken up. It's hard to think about um, time in billions of years, especially when we think of old as hundreds of years. The human timescale is a lot different than the geologic timescale. So what we need to do is, because we're talking about the geologic timescale, we need to talk about the chunks that it's broken into. Okay. So some vocabulary. We're going to be looking at the words eon, era, period, and epoch. So the geologic timescale is broken up into these chunks. Eon is the longest amount of time. So if we're talking about a time period that is very, very long, we're talking about eons. And then there's eras, then periods, and epochs. If you look here, okay, we have eons. Okay, the Phanerozoic eon, for example, is a very long time period. And then eras are long, but not as long as eons, but they're shorter, but periods are shorter. Okay, and here we have the periods. And then epochs are the shortest. Those are the shortest amount of time. So it's not necessarily important to know how long an eon is or how long an era is, but you need to know that eons are longer than eras are longer than periods, and periods are longer than epochs, and epochs are the shortest. We also have something what we call a super eon, which is, if you look down here, pre-Archean, this time is referred to as a super eon. So we're going to take a look now at more specific chunks and what they're called. So the Precambrian super eon, that's what I was mentioning earlier, okay, is between 4.6 billion years to 700 million years ago. There's 3 different eons that occurred during the Precambrian supereon: the Hadean, Archean, and the Proterozoic. Okay. And each of these, if you look at the pictures, it sort of describes what the Earth looked like back then. So the first one, Hadean, it's basically what you think of primordial Earth. It's really hot, lots of lava, lots of volcanic activity. And then Archean eon is when we first start to see water forming. The water vapor that was in the atmosphere is starting to cool off and condense, starting to rain, and starting to form Earth's oceans. And that's between 3.8 to 2.5 billion years ago. And then the last one in the Precambrian super eon is the Proterozoic eon, which was around 700 million years ago. So here we have what we start to see some of the first continents. Okay, the Paleozoic era is next. And all these eras that I'm going to be talking about are in the Phanerozoic eon. Okay, so the Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic eras that I'll be talking about next all occurred during the Phanerozoic eon. So the Paleozoic era, we have a lot of periods. We have the Cambrian, the Ordovician, Silurian, Denovian, Carboniferous, and the Permian. Okay. And remember, it's not really important to know exactly when these occurred, just the order. And you have on your whisk, you have the chart that you need to fill out with the empty boxes. If you just go along with the video, you can fill in the different super eons, eras, periods that we'll be talking about. So we have the Cambrian. This was a huge explosion of life. It's referred to as a Cambrian explosion. It's when the Earth first started teeming with life. Um, not first life. There was life before this, but the first sort of huge diversity of life. Ordovician, and we start to see all through this time we see tectonic shifts. Silurian, Devonian. Okay, this is sometimes referred to as the age of the fishes. The Carboniferous, we start to see insects. Okay, and here we have some of the supercontinents. Here's Gondwana, Euramerica. Permian, we have the supercontinent. We first start to see Pangaea. The next era, Mesozoic. Okay, this is probably what a lot of you know about. I have a lot of prior knowledge about the age of the dinosaurs, which are broken up into three periods: Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. So Triassic is the first period in the Mesozoic era. Okay. Then Jurassic, we start to see that the continents start to break up. And Cretaceous. Okay. The Cenozoic era is what we're currently in now, and it's breaking up into two periods: Tertiary and Quaternary. Okay, Tertiary is a rise of the mammals. And Quaternary is what we're in today. Okay, so I know there was a lot of names, and really we'll go into more detail when you do your timeline activity, but this is just to introduce you to how we break up the geologic time scale and the order of the eras and periods.